We are back. Yesterday, I gave you the one and only paragraph sufficient for people to say, I do not want this taking place. I'm willing to sign a petition to have on the ballot a removal of the law passed by Gavin Newsom and the legislature in September 2022 about drilling. Drilling almost nowhere in California. That is now the law until we remove it. There will be a mere 5 to 10% of wellheads that can be exempt from excessive regulation so punitive that nobody would want to drill in the first place, or just plain you can't even comply because you're within 3,200 feet of a house, a hospital, or a school. That is almost everywhere in California. Okay? There are almost no oil drilling facilities or natural gas extraction facilities that are more than a kilometer away from a home. Say goodbye to oil and natural gas extraction in California. Say hello to $8 a gallon oil prices and food prices, which will inherently rise because everything is delivered by gas-powered vehicles currently, okay? We don't have trucks that run on solar power. Sorry. We don't have trucks that can make deliveries based on wind power. It's not there, okay? Our groceries will be relatively barren, and the stuff that remains in groceries and restaurants will be priced probably 50% higher. This is how stupid the legislature is. Now, I only read one paragraph, but let me get you the synopsis of the remaining 614 lines. It's about all the possibilities, and there's some exemptions for capping wells, uncapping wells, paying costs, making sure water quality samples are taken at certain times, sent to certain agencies, objected to or approved by certain individuals within certain times of the period. The mapping that a well maker must do of who's living within 3,200 feet of a certain institution and how they define these institutions. Okay, 614 additional lines of text. I have a solution, and it takes one line. Maybe a few extras, but here is my solution. It is what America lived by for decades, okay? Up until the progressive era of hyper-regulation of the 1900s and the teens, we did very well. We were not poisoning one another. Yes, we had oil derricks then, and we did fine. So how about these 4 words as the law? Don't harm innocent people. Okay, maybe you have to define harm. I would put the trust in juries, which have been doing that for a long time, to determine culpability when there is some predatory corporation that really is harming. And they do have to be armed with some science. So I am very sympathetic to the government being right now the best engineer of environmental safety, because individuals don't have the resources to take Conoco or Chevron to court and find the science or fund the science. They would say, yes, your benzene leaks have really harmed my 5-year-old kid. So there is a place for government. I believe it should be made constitutional. It's not yet. But the government can do it so much more simply and fairly. And let me give one definition of harm that I think can help with hands-off. Hands-off, anyone who claims harm based on a tiny level of excess chemical. Okay? So I would put the threshold at least 25% before anyone even has a claim. In other words, your claim is going to get thrown out of court until you show that there is a chemical that's been known to be harmful and being emitted at a rate 25 or more % higher than what is done in other American jurisdictions, and I'll let you average it with other Western countries' jurisdictions, just in case all 49 other states are so careless about harm. Fine, you can compare to Europe, Japan, a couple other nations in between. Don't go claiming harm until it's at that level. And take a lesson from, I gave the example of Beverly Hills High School, where there were claims because of those 19 oil derricks that literally were pumping oil out of the neighboring and even underground of the terrain occupied by Beverly Hills, California High School. Okay? They did this for over 20 years. Aaron Brockovich and another group brought suit on behalf of people who went to high school there. Guess what happened with the powerful Aaron Brockovich, okay, who got settlements in other industries? The first 12 plaintiffs were all rejected on summary judgment. I mean, that means a court says you have no case. You have no scintilla of a case. And even more than that, all 12 of them had to settle with the defendant. This is almost unheard of, where they paid the defendant's cost because it was a frivolous suit. Ladies and gentlemen, the best market, the free market, is still protectable with good justice. And we have relatively good justice. It's slow in my mind. It is expensive, but it is relatively good as our way of protecting people who are harmed. You don't need all these regulations that business and ultimately lawyers are going to have to look into the fine-tuning of. In the meantime, all of us are stymied in our activity and increasing our costs that we're having a hard time paying for now. I'm Mark Stewart. Thank you for listening.